Okay.
All right, we're just going to go on YouTube Live here right now. 1 second here. Hey, everybody on YouTube. Good to have you here with us. Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio. We kick off another brand new week here on the big show. And I'll tell you, we have a great guest tonight, Chris BLEDSOE. Now, if you do not know Chris BLEDSOE's story, you are going to be so happy that we were able to get him on the show and that he is staying up late for you guys tonight to hear his incredible story. I got to meet Chris in San Francisco. We'll go over that when the real show starts on radio here in 5.5 minutes. But I'll tell you, this is going to be incredible. You guys are in for a real treat tonight. I hope you enjoy tonight's show. And, we had to have a good show. I'm going to be honest with you. We had to have a good show for the second anniversary of Art Bell's passing. We absolutely did. And I think we got a power show for you guys tonight. And I'm very much looking forward to it. I hope you are too. And the long weekend was pretty long for me. I try not to... my downtime, I try to actually take some downtime, but it never seems to work. But that's okay. We got things going, and we are in good shape for tonight. Give a shout out to everybody in here so far. Mr. Man, Mr. Chris Moe, SMP, good to have you here. Bardell, always a pleasure to have you here with your sarcastic, witty charm. Sweet Stevie, good to have you here. As long as your cape is clean, that's all that matters. Donnie, thanks for stopping on in. Josh, thanks for coming on in. And Chocobo, thank you so much. And I know there will be a bunch more of you stopping on by as we get going here. Hi, Shanna Banana, Treehouse, Paul, thank you. How you doing, Mr. Chris?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have a fun time tonight, my friend. A fun time. This is one that I've been looking forward to since you and I had the pleasure of meeting, and we got to hang out and have some lunch and really get into some good chatting with everything that was going on. And you're one of the good guys in this field, my friend. You are one of the good guys in this field for sure. And
appreciate that, Dave.
Oh, yeah, anytime. Anytime, my friend. So, yeah, let's see. Hey, Dimples, good to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on in. All right. Let's see. Who else we got here? I think we're caught up. We are about 3.5 minutes away from showtime, and we all know that we need Science Bob McGuire to get his butt in here, too. Sergeant, what's going on? Thank you for coming on in. All right, where are we?
Is Bob in? Did you see Bob come on?
Oh, he hasn't popped in the YouTube chat yet. But he'll be here soon. Steve McDaniel already is. So
big shout out to Steve then.
Yeah. Sweet Stevie, we call him around here. Sweet Stevie. All right. Hello, Fap. Hi, Grandma Rose. How are you? Happy Easter to you, Grandma Rose. I hope you've had a good one. We have hello, Marie. How are you? Greco? Devin, what's going on? All right, Mr. Chris, we're about 2 minutes away. 2 minutes. All right. We're going to start the one feed right now. All right, and we're about 35 seconds, about a minute away from going. And then I will read an introduction to the show, an introduction to you, and then we are Off and running. Hey, everybody on YouTube, I hope you had just a happy Easter out there, as I know I did, and it's been a nice, chill, relaxing weekend, and now we get back at it. We're going to have some fun tonight with Chris Bledsoe, so just stay tuned. Stay tuned. Here we go. We're about 29 seconds away. Hi, April. How are you? Scarborough Sasquatch, how you doing, Tim? Or Tom, pardon me. All right, here we go. And all right, we're on in 10 seconds, Chris.
Okay.
2, 1. Music's on. Here we go. New week, people. Let's have some fun. Remember, the super chat is open. Great way to support this show is by going to our website, spacedoutradio.com/shop. Grab yourself a t-shirt while you can. Hey, Brett, how are you? Cable guy Matt, good to have you here. Hey, Bauman. We're going to start the show right now. From atop the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including all of our terrestrial affiliates around North America and on the digital side on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR, Newswire, and much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. While on the banks of the Cape Fear River, Chris Bledsoe and his son Christopher Jr. and 3 of his subcontractors discovered they were about to experience the most harrowing day of their lives, involving unexplained phenomena. This led them to believe this was the end of the world, but Bledsoe's infamous 2007 Cape Fear incident and abduction and new information has transformed his life, and some of it not for the good. And we're going to get into this very much. I kept the intro short because I want to spend as much time as possible with Chris. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Chris Bledsoe, it was a pleasure meeting you in San Francisco for UFOCon 2020, and to be able to shake your hand and get to know you and your experiences was an absolute delight for me and many people there in attendance. How are you?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate that, my friend. That makes me feel well.
Well, good, because I know you're someone, you're struggling with your health right now, and you're trying to get back on board with everything, and you got a lot of good people in your corner trying to make sure that you're doing good and everybody else is doing good. So, since I saw you in San Francisco, I've been doing a lot of research on you. I've been talking with Bob McGuire and Steve McDaniel about you, 2 scientists who work very closely with you. When you look at the people who have surrounded you regarding your encounters and your events, these aren't just your regular paranormal investigators or UFO investigators. These are real scientists who are looking into this phenomena and engaging with you. How comforting has that been for you to be able to rely on people of knowledge and of education to try and help explain what has been going on?
Well, actually, if I could elaborate on that a little bit, when it all first started back in 2007, I had no clue about anything UFO really at all, or anything accompanied with it. So what I'm saying is after the experience, we found out that there was nobody there that could help answer questions, that could tell us anything. And so all I could hear from the UFO world is the government's going to send the men in black. They're going to kill you. You can't talk. I mean, I was scared to death to speak about this to anybody, afraid that the government was going to come get me. And I learned within the first year that wasn't so. And it actually turned out to be the best thing for me and for my family is to have these scientists come, because they bring big validation when they come and they're interested and they believe it. And so it's been a big honor to work with some very important people.
Chris, with the experiences that you were having, that started back in 2007, they were so life-altering for you regarding your UFO sighting, your abduction, your missing time, and everything like that. Do you ever sit back and wonder why you? What changed in your life that made this experience happen, and why did it have to happen?
Yeah, well, I think about that all the time, and I can never come up with any sort of answer. I ask other people that, and all I get is, why not? Why not you? Somebody's got to tell the truth about this stuff. And I'm the kind of guy that I've already hit the bottom, lost all my friends early on, and family members, from ridicule and to church and everything else. And so now I don't care anymore. People can say what they want. They can criticize all they want, but they just are uninformed. They have no clue to the caliber of people that are really interested in this stuff and are there. And if you don't blab a lot, you get to hang out with these kinds of people. And so, yeah, I don't, it's a whole different ball game for me. And
do you like it? Do you like your life now because of what happened?
Yeah, I do. It's totally different. I had no clue. I'm not sure my wife would say that so much, but it's been a learning experience for the whole family. And I would have never met the people that I have met over the years. And I mean, some very important folks and very good friends like Dr. McGuire and his wife and many others. So, yeah, I wouldn't go back for nothing. It's been too far. There was a long time there I would have.
Chris, you're a humble man. You're somebody who has always given back to the community. At one point, you were a deacon in your church. You were somebody who tried to be a pillar of strength for the community around, and a real good guy that was well known back then. And then when everything happened, and you were trying to find your own answers, what went through you when, and maybe your family as well, when everybody who knew you personally and had corresponded with you for maybe weeks, maybe months, maybe years, decades, all of a sudden turned their back? How did you go through that with the strength that you have had?
Well, it was hard. It was a lot to that at that time. And one thing is in 2004, late 04, I had a near-death experience, and that nearly took me out of here. And just 2 years later, I had this experience on the Cape Fear River. And so in that time frame, I wasn't working. I didn't have a job. I was so sick. My dad talked me into going down to the beach to build that first house in late 2006. but everybody thought I was nuts. They just thought he's nuts. He's got to be crazy. He's seeing lights in the sky. And the more that they said that, the more it made me angry, and the more it made me want to be vindicated. And so it changed my life. It set me on a road of trying to prove everybody wrong, which I have done pretty much. I have done it. Everybody that known me from the beginning.
Chris, your case is very special, and it is one that has caught the attention of everybody from the UFO community to government officials and agencies, to the Stars Academy. What about your experiences and who you've become has drawn the attention of scientists from across the United States wanting to study you and what has happened?
Well, that's part of it. Like you say, I have had the honors to, because they know it's real, because there's so many people that have been here and that have left here changed, that has actually seen something not really close, life changing. It's until you in this business, in the UFO business, until you see it, you really don't know it. I don't know how anybody can go out and try to sell the world on books and on knowledge and information and have never seen this to start with. So how do you sell what you've never seen? Pretty crazy, right? But
as a fellow experiencer, I can attest to what you're saying there, because the hardest thing to do is to have people that trust and love tell you that they don't believe you.
Well, that's what happened with even my mother and dad. But this friend of mine, he died at Thanksgiving of this year. It's Dr. Hal Povetmeyer, and he was a NASA scientist. He was an astronomer. He was an engineer, rocket scientist. He started there before NASA was NASA, like in the 56 or 7 range. He worked with Warner von Braun. He worked with Jale and Hynek. He was his student at Ohio State, by the way. But he came early on. He was the first probably big scientist that came. And that was in early 2008, somewhere around June or July. He knocked on the door, and that started a conversation that became a friendship with the kids, with my children. We adopted him and his family, and he and our family. And when he passed away at Thanksgiving, he was coming to my house to spend the weekend. So it was a guy from NASA that went to my mother's house and knocked on the door and sat my mother and dad down and said, you do not treat your son like you're treating him. You need to listen to him, because what he's telling you is 100% real. So that's my experience with these 3-letter agencies. Just good people that want to help, that want to learn just like you and I do, that are honest for the most part and what they're looking for.
Chris Bledsoe is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Chris, I'm very curious, and I'm going to be jumping around a lot over the next little bit here because, we only got you for a finite amount of time, and we got to get a lot of information in on you on this. You have had many people believe your story who are very, very productive when it comes to investigating this type of phenomena. Very high up people who, for the most part, the majority of the UFO field may not even acknowledge or even know that they exist. Yet there is a complete crowd out there in the UFO world that has negatively portrayed you and your family. How have you dealt with that? Because that cannot feel good.
Well, for one, I really, I used to let it bother me, but I don't pay any attention anymore. because they're just uninformed. They only knew. They had no flipping clue as to what, like you just said. There's things going on. People that are involved in this stuff, investigating it, that we would have no clue exist. That just really incredible. And while they're making their statements and all, I'm involved in some things that I can't tell. That's the hard thing. You can't tell anybody. You can't run and say, "Oh God, just where are you coming from? Look here and look at this. I could prove it," but you can't. You have to just let them talk and just understand you're in a kind of a club that very few are in. That's the way I'd have to say it.
It has to be difficult.
If I talk
though.
a whole lot.
Go ahead. Sorry, sir.
Well, it is difficult. I was going to say, if you talk a lot, you get thrown out of the club. You have to be quiet, which I've done pretty good over the last 8 or 10 years, keeping it quiet.
Why have to keep it quiet, though? There's a lot of people who may not understand that, because you're probably, next to Travis Walton, the best case that has ever come forward in the last 40 years, and there haven't been a lot of them. When you came out, did you expect that many detractors to try and, poo-poo your entire story without even knowing you?
I had no idea. Yeah, right. I never had a clue. I'm just an honest guy. I had this experience with lights that came out of the sky. I'm very sick. I came through a near-death experience and really didn't want to live. I was at that point in my life, and I cried out for help and never knew it would come in the way it did. And, so I keep that in the back of my thoughts the whole time. These things came and they healed me. They have helped other people that have been here, and a lot of people have seen it. So, there's a group that I hang with, and all the negative ones, I just let them do their thing, and I don't pay any attention. I don't read the reports. I don't read. It's like Twitter. I just deleted that. It's just such a nasty place. Can't be there. It's just uninformed people.
This community has always fretted with saying, where are the experiencers? Where are the people who have these stories with this evidence? And when you come along and you're like, look, I have photographic evidence, I have video evidence, I've had top scientists show up at my door, and I've proved to them what is going on, and yet this entire community continues to beat you up, your family up. I mean, a man can only take so much, Chris, and I'm not trying to fire you up or anything along those lines, but with the emotion of it all, how have you been able to stay level-headed? How has your family been able to just say, you know what? It is what it is. This is what we have to deal with on a daily basis, and let's just cut the roots of it. I mean, because not a lot of people can do that, or would fire back on the other side saying, oh, well, maybe Chris is not what he says he is if he can't handle what's happening or the questions that are coming on social media.
Right. Well, like I said, I don't pay a lot of attention to social media and any of the negative stuff, and I can't get away from this thing. The family and I have all thought maybe we could forget about it and it go away and just be normal people like we all were once. And you just can't get away from it. It doesn't want me to forget about it. When I try, it shows up. I mean, I walk outside and there it is. It comes. And it comes really close at times. And you've seen some of the stuff I've taken pictures and videos of. So what do you do when it won't leave you alone?
So it's almost like they are saying, no, we're not allowing you to get rid of this. You have to be some sort of messenger.
Exactly. That's exactly the way it is. If I try to run from it, it just comes harder. And people didn't know that have been here have seen it up close, really close and personal. Feet away, 10 feet away, not, miles up in the sky. Some little dot that flies by. We're talking about things that come real close. Orbs, orbs in the sky, which are craft. It's just so involved. It's not a guess with me. It's not, did that really happen or are they really real? It's not like that. I know they're there. I know they're there. And they want me to know that. And so it's just a constant interaction throughout all these years of showing up and saying, hey, you're, we want you to tell this.
I'm going to ask
I've
you.
let them direct my life the whole time.
If you had, as we only got about 2.5 minutes here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour, Chris, if you had a message that you would like to send to all the detractors out there, people, whether it's the people at MUFON who you felt really threw you under the bus, and we'll get into that in the next half hour, or whether it's the UFO community that is really, trying to degrade who you are and what your experience is, what message would you have for them?
Well, with all those people, we sat down for about 5 minutes with me and let me share evidence of where I've been and the people that I have been involved with. They'll never question that again, I guarantee you, because I can prove that part right. But it's not about proving to me anymore. It's about a mission and a message for the world. The world has to learn that this stuff is real if we're going to ever succeed as a human race. It's just so important.
I don't blame you. And I think that's pretty solid because you have hundreds of photos, hundreds of videos. I mean, I remember you were showing me your phone. I think it was about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning in San Francisco there. And you were showing me your phone with all of the photos, and you're into the thousands of pieces of evidence. And, for anybody to kind of question what you've got, I mean, the most of the time when you have these experiences, you have other people with you witnessing this at the same time. It's not just Chris who is going out there and saying, oh, well, there's a UFO, and by the way, I'm just going to chat about it.
No, I've got videos that I didn't take that was taken with people standing beside me coming to visit. And you can hear them talking in the video, and visible orbs that appear and fly up to us, and you can hear the people saying, oh my God, there it is, or I finally got one. And so there's a lot of people that interact with this stuff. A lot of scientists like Dr. McGuire. He's a very serious scientist, and he had an experience here. Dr. John Alexander came here and had a very big experience, and there are many, many more, many scientists from universities and like Wake Forest University, Duke University. I have North Carolina University at Wilmington. There's a lot of people, a lot of scientists that have been here and have witnessed this stuff and will stand up for it and have had their lives changed forever.
Chris, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we're going to go to break at the bottom of the hour here. Chris Bledsoe, The Ultimate Experience on Spaced Out Radio, coming up next. Beautiful half hour, my friend. Beautiful half hour. Good job.
Good. Thank you.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I wasn't sure if you actually got a chance to ever speak out to your detractors, so I wanted you to be able to have your say with them.
I appreciate that. I never pay them attention. because it's like Lori Wagner. She's been trying to prep me for the Hollywood celebrity thing if this television show takes off. And she said that that's the worst thing. The actors hate it, is that, you know, they got tons of people that follow them, but they got tons of detractors too, and they let it get to them.
Yeah.
So they train you not to look at it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Good stuff.
I can totally see that, my friend. Totally see that. Oh, well.
And it's one of the things, Dave. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please. All about you.
I was just saying it's one of them things where, you know, I want to say, hey, look, shut up. Let me show you what I found here, or what I've seen at this particular place. And they would recognize the place, you know. But you can't prove them wrong when you're dealing with, you know, classified stuff.
Well, and I think
even being in some of those places.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of part of it too, Chris, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think a lot of people, you know, want to believe because maybe they have their own fear, maybe they have their own experience that they don't want to deal with, and it's easier to take it out on those who've gone public than it is to admit that you're one of those as well.
Right. There's a lot of people that just don't have the mental capacity to ever understand. It's a block. It's put in their brain from years of brainwashing. You know, they laughed at you if you said there was a ghost in my house or a light in the sky. People were made to laugh at you. So
Yes.
it's sort of brainwashing. All these years of brainwashing, and some people can never get past that. Some people can. It was NASA that told me that. These people just don't have the brain capacity. They'll deny it, they'll debunk it, because it goes against what they fear. It makes them afraid.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we still live on.
We're live
YouTube?
on. Yeah, we're live on YouTube.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you go right ahead, man. You go right ahead.
Just saying, there's a lot of places that that had their hands into the UFO cookie jar and have had their hands in it from the very beginning. Yet they've denied it. And I can't say who, but I think everybody would figure it out. But there's just believe why they're coming to my house, why they don't go knock on everybody that sees a light in the sky's door and want to be involved with them or work with them about their experience. They just don't. It should lend credibility to why they're at my house, why they come. You know, why do you want to talk to me? You know.
Have you had have you had to make up an extra bedroom for them at all? You know, when they just pop by without even knocking. You know, just passing by on the way to Venus or something like that.
Absolutely. In fact, one time my wife came home. Her and my daughter were at the beach, and it was a Sunday evening when they came home, and I had invited a few folks over to do sky watching. And I didn't realize it was going to turn into what it did. But when she came home, there were probably 25 or 30 pup tents and people sleeping right out on the ground in blankets and sleeping bags in the wintertime at my house. So
all wanting the experience.
Yeah. And you know, those years were the hardest times, the first 5 years. I could never hardly share it with anybody outside of my own children, my wife. But then around 2012, it all changed. And that's when I was allowed to start filming them,
right?
To start sharing with others. Before that, there was never a chance. You hear it from everybody in the UFO world. They see a light in the sky, they pull the camera out, and just before they hit record or capture, it disappears. And it does it every time. They just can never get the camera on it. Well, that's because they don't want you to. And they didn't want me to in the first 5 years. And after that, I just made a deal with them. And that was with the lady in 2012. That, if I would tell the story, they would help me. They'd help me capture the photo and the video and the proof to do it. And that's what's brought everybody. That's what's got scientists there, because I'm getting the evidence.
Right.
That it's real.
All right, my friend, hold on here, because we're about 40 seconds away from kicking off the next half hour here, and then we'll continue on right there. Everybody's bugging me. Do you eat breakfast for dinner, Chris?
No, I eat breakfast,
good,
not for dinner.
Good.
Yeah, but I do eat eggs at night.
Oh, no. I can't be the only one who doesn't. Hold on here. Music's on. Super Chat is open, YouTube, along with our store on our website. Go check it on out. Great way to support what we do. Here we go. Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us. We want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio, the show at Spaced Out Radio, or my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Make sure you give us a follow. Thank you so much. Chris Bledsoe is here tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He doesn't do a lot of interviews, but when he does, he's got one of the most amazing stories when it comes to ET contact, alien abduction, orbs, UFOs, interaction with extraterrestrials. It is phenomenal and a story you need to pay attention to. Chris, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave. I'm glad to be here.
Previous to 2007, when you had your experience at the Cape Fear River, what did you know about UFOs?
Much to nothing, really, because, at that time I was still raising children. They're all grown now, but never get rid of them, right? So, but in 2007, I was building 100, well, not in 2007, but before that, we sold our business in 2005. I was building 100 homes a year and selling them, had a Remax Realty company and a construction company for years. And so I was never, that was my mindset, building, selling, and everything that comes with raising 4 children. So soccer, ball, everything. So I was just a normal working father of 4 children that was overworked and never thought about UFOs. Never.
Like most religious people out there, and you're a very firm believer in God, and you have a real religious side to you. Did you believe that they were demons coming from the stars, much like people have portrayed in the Bible?
Well, that was the crazy thing, because, I was raised to believe that way. And here I am sick with Crohn's for 17 and a half years, and I was ready to give up on life. I lost my business. I couldn't operate it anymore. I just sick for 2 years so bad I couldn't get out of bed. And so I had to sell the company at a loss. Here I am, 46 years old with no future, 4 kids, and I'm at the bottom of the barrel now. What do I do? So I start crying out secretly inside. And even though I was trying to build a house the first one in '07, and had these guys fishing and my son there. I wasn't in sync with them. All I was thinking about was, I need help. Lord, help me. And so it was that mindset and that prayer that brought these lights out of the sky, that took the crones away. And now here I am. I just had this experience of these big balls of fire came out of the sky, took me away for 4 hours, brought me back. And I wanted to tell the world, look what happened. Well, I found out real quick, nobody wanted to hear it. If they believed me, it was a demon. And so here comes the church. And when I leave, they would come and sprinkle holy water around my property. And they're like, you're messing with Satan. I'm like, I wasn't praying to Satan. I was praying to God. So something's wrong here. And so it remodeled my whole belief system. A lifetime of being raised in a Christian fundamentalist church to all of a sudden meeting a lady from the Catholic side, what they call the Virgin Mary. It was just so bizarre. It changed my whole life of the way that I see this religion, faith. And I just have to say, I'm probably stronger now in my beliefs than before.
That doesn't surprise me. But, when you have that experience where, you were a trusted member of your church and your community, and we all of a sudden see, people had never questioned your faith or your belief in God or anything along those lines up until this point. How, I don't even know how to ask this, but was it difficult for you to try and get people to comprehend that, yes, I was praying to God. I wasn't praying to any demons. We have things going on here that I cannot explain or understand, because that had to be, a big fight that you were not expecting from the people who you know and trust and love.
Absolutely was. That was the hardest thing for me. The hardest thing was that my family and friends and all turned on me, and they wanted to say, okay, well, he's mentally insane. We can't believe him. If he saw lights, it was the devil or a demon, or he's crazy and he didn't see lights. Well, then my son's saying I saw lights. Well, then it has to be a demon or the devil you're dealing with. So I got it both ways. And the UFO world, they didn't want me involved. One of its biggest players, I'll never forget, posted on my Facebook about 10 years ago on my Facebook, saying, we don't need your input. We already got it all figured out. Because I was saying my experience was spiritual, right? I've always maintained I was praying. It came out of the sky. They took me away. They brought me back. And I'm not sick anymore. So how do you process that? What just happened to me? Why did they come? Why did they leave me in this situation? Now here I am. Nobody believes me. The church says I'm dealing with the devil. The UFO world says I'm crazy because it's not spiritual. It was a Pleiadian flying a S-27B Star Cruiser or some kind of something, So I didn't know where to go. And that's when the government folks came and they filled in a gap that is still filled to this day. And that's why I'm so pro-government. It was the only place I could find any sanity and no threats, just true people that want to learn, that want to, make me feel like somebody. Yeah, what you saw was real. Now let's figure out what it was. Not like, the UFO investigator that comes and knows absolutely nothing. I'm dealing with people that
Yes.
have all the toys.
Chris, I'm going to ask you, you had your case investigated by the MUFON STAR team. And for people who do not know what the STAR team is, MUFON has this private investigatory journalist. I know I'm going on Zoolander there, but has this in private investigative group that goes on out and they cover these cases that are, not kept in the regular open MUFON files. And yours was one of them. And when it was investigated, they didn't treat you very well. What happened there?
Actually, we were the first one, the first STAR team case. And that was put together by Bigelow, believe it or not. And Bigelow was paying their salary. And that funding, when all that money came through from Congress. So we were like their first case, STAR team case. But they were a rapid response team that supposed to have money behind them, where most UFO researchers are on their own penny. With MUFON, you join, you go do investigations on your own money. You give them all the documents and so on. Well, STAR team investigators are employed, you might say. Some of them were by MUFON. They were paid to leave at any time to go to on a case. And I actually ended up getting 5 or 6 of those guys. They all just came all at one time. Within 2 days, they're all at the house. They come from everywhere. So it was a whole bunch of them from MUFON. James Carrion from Colorado, to Norm Gagnon from Maryland, to Richard Lang. He came from Homeland Security out of Virginia, through Charlotte. He supposedly lived in Charlotte. And shoot, I don't know who all else. There were quite a few of them. And they were pretty, in fact, I got to where I didn't want them coming back. They just treated us like we were, I felt like I was in court, like they were going to throw me in jail or something. They're just not very nice.
What were
continual questions?
Yeah, what were some of those questions that they were asking you? Because it was almost like they weren't there to try and believe you, but more so there to try and debunk your case like it wasn't true.
Well, that's what their mission was. Get the evidence and debunk the source, and that was their mission there for a while. At least that's what they tried to do, and they did a pretty good job. It really irritated me bad, because I was supposed to have some kind of creative control, or at least say. They didn't give me any of that. They didn't show any evidence that they had found, from burnt marks on the ground to stuff in the trees and other witnesses. And, there were 8 other people in our community that all saw it that night. So all of that could have been put in this show, and the whole outcome would have been different than the way they tried to make it. My friend Jim told me he knew the minute it was published, it was a hack job.
Why do you think they targeted you that way?
Well, at that time, before 2016, the government was still denying it. There was no way that the military or anybody would say we've ever investigated. Since Blue Book, we care nothing about a UFO. That was always the case of the government. You couldn't, I could never say I was working with somebody from the government ever until 2016. That's when they changed their whole everything. The government actually admitted that it was real in 2016. And that changed everything. It changed it for me. And I actually, just think about this, a database, a place that collects the data. And it doesn't matter how much data. It's just, if it's on a postage stamp to a whole volume somebody wrote up on each case, that data, no matter how small, is very important to an algorithm in a computer that they keep cramming this stuff into. So their whole deal is get the data and debunk the case. That was normal mission up into 2016.
And you think that was the case with MUFON as well?
Sure. I mean, that's top secret stuff. The UFO subject, I've been told, is the most top secret thing on planet Earth, period. Far above anything with the Department of Energy even. And so, if they got the data, they're surely not going to share it with us, and they'll hide it. It disappears. It's like Tom DeLonge in the metal, right? He's got some metal, turns out to be really good stuff. What happens? The government says it's classified, can't share it with anyone.
Chris Bledsoe is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Chris, who was your savior in this? Okay, outside of your own personal beliefs and religion, but who is your savior in the scientific community that really took you under their wing and said, you know what, Chris, we believe you and we want to learn more, and gave you the credence and the ability to believe that your experiences were real, that you have been telling the truth? Who gave you that strength?
Well, it would be a number of people. The first one would be Dr. Povenmire when he came in 08. And, he came 3 or 4 times a year, every year from then on. But there are other people, some I can't mention. Diana's friend, if you hear Diana talk about the book she wrote, that had a guy named Tyler in there.
Diana
Tyler
Pasulka
is one of them. Yes, I introduced Diana to Tyler. Took me almost 2 years to get her to meet him because she was so afraid of the guy. But he was somebody that I respected a lot, and he spent time with my family and children, and he helped the family out. And then there was Jim Semivan. I think everybody knows who Jim is. He's a very close friend of mine and my children. He and his wife, Deb. And so those are the kinds of people that are on my friend list. Those are who, for the last 8 years, I've been behind the scenes talking with these kinds of people and learning things that I can't share. But I think eventually everybody will get to know.
When you look at the list of people, when somebody of the scientific community comes up to you, or government affairs, whoever it may be, whatever alphabet agency they may be a part of, and says, Chris, we know that you have experienced something phenomenal and we believe you. What kind of stress did that take off your shoulders, that finally you were getting some sort of respect for what you had gone through, considering that it had been nonstop aggression towards you?
Well, it actually began in 08 when Dr. Povenmire came, and he started reassuring my wife and children that I wasn't lying, that it was happening. And he actually went to my family, my mother, my dad, and different people. And I'll never forget Jim. Came for my birthday a few years back, and one of my boys was, he had a hard time with it in school, getting picked on, his dad being labeled crazy and everything. And so he went off to college. He didn't want to come home. He was embarrassed about his father. but and their friends, all my kids, their friends, they would, my kids experience the stuff with me, right? They see it too. So now they're 100% on my side, and they're telling their friends at school, my dad's not crazy. We did see lights. We see them. Well, I'll never forget one night Jim said, we all went out to eat. It was on my birthday. And he told the boys, he said, call all your friends, all your high school buddies, and get them to the house tonight. And so we were out back, lit a big fire. And I think there were probably 20 kids that come up. Some of them were police officers that had graduated the academy, and they were first-year officers. There were 3 of them come up in police cars, and all my kids' friends. And he set them down and told them. He showed them who he was. And before that night was over, all those kids were looking up to me like I was something special after that night. So that's the government that I talk about, that I enjoy. And I have to say I've been here to help when nobody else would, when the relentless UFO crowd is nonstop bashing you. And then you got people like that care. So it's a no-brainer.
Chris Bledsoe is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We have about another 2.5 minutes before we need to go to break at the top of the hour. Chris, as people started to believe your story and understand that you've been telling the truth with what happened to you all along, did your encounters start to increase as word started getting out?
Yeah, it did. It 100% did. And that was especially in 2012. When, I had this experience with this lady. From that point on, everything changed. I mean, I've had as many as 20 people with me. In other words, I go to different groups around my state. North Carolina, I can drive 2 hours to Charlotte, 2 hours to Goldsboro, Greensboro, Raleigh, Durham, Duke. All these areas are an hour or 2 from me. And so there are groups of people that like to host a party for a Saturday night, sky watching. They'll call me and have me come over, and usually there'll be anywhere from 6 to 20 people. There's one group in Raleigh that are doctors at Duke, and they're nurses that, that's their people they run with. So they invited me out one night, and we're on the dam at Falls Lake in Raleigh, the only dark place around. You can drive down in the woods to a parking lot. And there's 20 people standing there, and all in the doctor field, nurses field. And we had something appear 100 yards away and about 10 feet above the trees and big as an ice cream truck. I mean, right in front of everybody. I sat there about 2 or 3 minutes and just flew away. And it came because of asking it to. Not just showing up, but asking it. Show up. Just share it with these people.
Chris,
so I've got a big group.
Perfect.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Chris, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break at the top of the hour here. Experiencer Chris Bledsoe is our guest tonight. He has had amazing encounters since 2007, been able to summon in craft. The government takes him seriously. The alphabet groups take him seriously. Major scientists around the United States and major universities take him seriously. Yet the UFO community does not. We'll continue with his experiences right after this in hour 2. All right, Chris, I'm going to just quickly run my dogs outside. I'll be right back. and the commercials be on for YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, just stay put. We'll be back here in a couple seconds.
Strange that can't be
Just
explained?
stick with me, Chris.
All right,
Do you want help finding out what's going on?
I'm here.
I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent, and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the story you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
All right, Chris, I'm back, and we got 3.5 minutes before we go back to break.
Good. I'm here.
All right. How's it going so far for you?
Going good. Glad I got me a nap this evening. I'm so tired. All good. Ready for this coronavirus thing to get over with, I swear.
I know. I know. It's kind of cool. I mean, the way I've, for me, this is nothing different for me because I'm pretty introverted and work out of my home. So it's, for me, it's nothing different. Nothing different.
we got a Hollywood project that is stovepiped. It's stopped.
Yeah.
All waiting. There are 14 studios ready, all wanting this thing and ready to go with it as soon as they get the highest offer. And it was all ready for that until they stopped, shut down the market. So Hollywood's a ghost town right now.
We got 2 minutes, my friend.
Maybe in a month we'll be okay. So in about a month, I think we'll be month and a half, maybe.
Well, hopefully that picks up. Hopefully.
Well, it's been a 7-year project. We're hoping to get it going. This long on it, it's almost there. I mean, it's almost 8 years working on it, and then all of a sudden, Hollywood says we're shutting down.
Well, just a matter of time, and I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be real good for you.
Yeah.
Smarten some people up.
So.
Smarten some people up.
I think people are going to get it. I think that the phenomenon is going to reveal itself. It's doing it now. That's something that I mentioned. I told Bob, way back, that this year was going to be a big year for sightings, and especially around Easter. And last week they had a big flap down in California
yes.
and in Detroit.
Yes, absolutely.
A lot of places.
All right, we got just over 30 seconds left, and then I'm going to reintroduce the show, reintroduce you, and we're off and running in hour number 2, and go from there. All right, we got about 10 seconds. I'm just going to turn the audio back on YouTube. Thank you so much to Science Bob, FAP, and everyone else who has donated so far in the Super Chat. It is open, and a good show is always requiring your help. Go to our website, spacedoutradio.com.
Dave Scott.
And
follow Dave on Twitter.
Click on the store. Grab yourself a shirt. Here we go.
And
hour
on
2.
Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Second hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across the United States and Canada, along with the digital side on TalkStream Live, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Revolution Radio as well. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Quantitative. Quantitative is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We got a plethora of features for you, including reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, rocking out to Bumblefoot, and so much more. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter, the show, at Spaced Out Radio, and my personal handle, at Dave Scott SOR. Tonight we are talking about what it's like to experience an extreme phenomena of UFOs, ET contact. Chris Bledsoe is our guest tonight. Chris doesn't do a lot of interviews. However, he's chosen to come speak on our show because, well, he likes what we do, and he likes my hair. He likes my hair. And I'm just going to put that bluntly. No, I'm teasing. Chris, thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to chat with you tonight, learn about your experiences.
I appreciate you having me, Dave. It's fun to be on, and I do like your hair. I think it's really cool.
I appreciate that. I do appreciate that.
I had to throw that in.
Oh, not a problem. Chris, for people who may not be familiar with your story, in 2007, you were, walking back to your vehicle to grab some while you were out with the boys and your son fishing when you saw an orb that really, really changed your life. Next thing you know, you were gone for 4.5 hours. Everybody's looking for you, including your son, who ended up being tracked down by a couple of ETs. What did these ETs look like that you were dealing with?
Those were the best way I could describe it is like a 4-year-old child, about that size. Not the great big eyes like you would think, but bigger eyes than normal, but more, kind of a hybrid between what you would think is a gray. I see a lot of people draw those or depict that's what they were seeing. Well, it wasn't like that. It was more human looking and, but glowing bright, the color of the moon. Their heads were a little bit larger than normal, but not great, giant, big like some people say. But the proportions were normal, like a child. But they were wearing something white, a suit of some sort, I would suppose, that made their body look like glass or chrome, just the glare from the body. It actually looked like glass or something very polished and emitting a glow about the color of the night. And I've taken a picture of 2 of these entities, and I have a video of one walking, and it's so dark it's hard to see. That one is good, but the pictures are fairly clear from that same, from about 20 feet away, and they look like ghosts, almost like a ghost when you see them. They can become more solid to where they look like completely you and I, or they can kind of turn themselves back. The best way I'm thinking in my mind is a dimmer switch on a light. They have that ability to phase into us and phase out. I actually have a video where you can see them, see this entity come out of the orb in a flash, and now it's translucent when it comes out, and it moves out of the screen. So when they come here, they're still translucent.
What did their faces look like?
See-through. I actually painted it in 2009, this little being, and I only had a good 1 minute or so with it. It was terrifying, and I looked the best I could look at detail without, completely falling apart. I was afraid. I surrendered to it. I thought it was going to kill me. I mean, I really thought it was it. And it said in my head, it said, "I'm here to help you, not hurt you." And but it looks like a child, a cross between a child and a gray, maybe, like you'd see people depict. Not full-blown gray, but
yeah,
or childlike.
Chris, I got to ask, okay, in regards to the fact that this being said, "I'm here to help you, not to hurt you," we have been indoctrinated with the idea that ETs are bad, ETs are here to take over the planet, they're here to disrupt humankind, here to take things over. We've also heard that from a number of UFO investigators and people out there who are trying to push a negative agenda. I mean, how much did that mess with your mind when this ET is sitting here telling you, no, Chris, we're here for the good, not the bad. We're just here to help you on out. That had to feel a little bit intimidating because of the reputation that everybody has with extraterrestrials.
Well, I was the most confused human in the world there for the longest time because, I was truly sick and ready to give up on life and to be on my knees at one time in the woods crying out, "Lord, help me. What do I do? How do I feed my children? Where do I go from here?" And then these lights appear. There were 3 of them, and they came and they took me, and they took the crones away. So imagine, Dave, the agony that I'm in that I'm telling my community and my church that I was praying and this ball of fire comes out of the sky, takes my Crohn's away. Now I've got more problems than I had before then. Nobody wants to believe me. Everybody's calling me a liar. Or I'm dealing with the devil. I was praying. I wasn't praying to Satan. I was praying like I was always taught to pray. So the confusion sat in, and
Right.
it really had me for the longest time.
Right.
It took me 5-6 years to understand it better.
Right. Yeah. So with that, and as you are trying to figure things out and get things going in your own head with everything that has happened, and you're having these beings, you're having these people out there who are trying to help you. I mean, did they all come at once, or is it the same group that is continuing to how can I put it? Continue to visit you, or have you had experiences that with other types of beings that you just can't understand?
Well, I've had, let's just say, I don't know if I can understand it, all of what's going on, because there's so much to it, Dave. Immediately after the thing happened on the river in 07, immediately we go home and weird stuff in the house starts happening. First off, we have 3 owls that take up home in the trees around the house for a month. There's owls in our yard every night, hooting every single night of the week and it got so that it was annoying trying to sleep. That was the first weird thing. And then we started seeing a flash of light inside the house, just a flash, like a flash bulb from a camera. And all of a sudden, here's a shadowy entity walking down the hall, or 2 of them. And my kids are seeing this. My wife is seeing this. And orbs, blue orbs and golden orbs and all color orbs, small orbs. We never saw those before. I saw orbs on the river, which they were craft undoubtedly, 40, 50 feet big. But now I'm seeing orbs as small as a basketball. What is that? I'm asking. I mean, so for the next several years, I became the orb guy. Everybody knew me as the orb guy because I'm taking pictures of these balls of light, and I have no clue how that had anything to do with what happened on the river in 2007. So it's just amazing the amount of different types of things that started happening and are still happening to this very day. And it's like second nature now. It can still scare you. It did me last Easter. But it's just amazing the different types of ghostly things, toothbrushes. I brush my teeth tonight. I get up in the morning, my toothbrush is gone. Ask the wife, where's my toothbrush? I haven't seen it. Well, next morning, she's like, you got my toothbrush. No, I haven't seen it. So now we have to go buy new ones. Or we're all sitting together and a 5-pound seashell hops up off of a shelf and just goes across the room. So, and all this happened after 2007. A myriad of everything, not just lights in the sky, but ghosts and shadowy beings and things moving and things appearing. Ports. I started getting marbles out of the bags full. I probably have found 40. Found 2 this week. They just show up out of nowhere. Here I'm walking and there's one on the ground. Or I walk in, I look in this drawer and I find a pair of socks and there's a marble there. How does it get there? So it's strange stuff, David. It never stops. And now I just see them as It's like a relationship, you might say. I explained that to Dr. Bob. I know they're out there. I know they're in the sky. I know they're listening. I know they're there every time I go out. Whether you want to talk to me or not tonight is up to you, but that's kind of the approach I take. I'm talking to them in my head as we're going outside. And sometimes they show and sometimes they don't. But recently it's been a lot more.
Well, I don't know if you just sent some aliens over here, but I just typed in our YouTube chat room that I just had my arm touched. There's nobody in my studio. There was a quick breeze that just went right by my left side, and it felt like my arm just got touched, like a hand on my arm.
I would confirm that very possible. It happens. I mean, how do you equate that with a UFO, right? That's the whole thing with me from the beginning. I'm praying, I need help, I get helped by UFOs. Okay? So how does it all connect? You know, why would an alien come from Pleiades to heal me on the river fishing with a bunch of guys? It don't make sense. So I've struggled with that from the beginning, and all my science friends all struggle with that as well. So it's a big question.
I'm just curious, you know, in regards to the contact that you have and the ability to summon these experiences that you are having. Do you have the ability to do it anytime you want, or do you have to look for signs up in the sky to try and figure out if the timing is right?
No, I look at it differently. When the best way I can explain it is that I know that they're all the time. And I know that they don't share themselves with just anyone. They won't show up for just anyone. If there's skeptical people, the naysayers in the bunch, we can all go home because it's going to ruin it for everyone. But certain people, like you or Bob or different ones, for some reason, it's not shy. So when my approach is, I look up at the sky and I know they're there. I envision them sitting there, invisible, because that's where they are. They're always, you can't see them, but they're there. They're always there, and they're listening. And, you know, just, I ask, okay, you can show yourself. My friend's here, I want you to meet him. And all of a sudden, like little children, they start appearing everywhere, and here they come. And some of them get really close, you know. And some in the form of orbs the size of a flashlight. They're flying through the trees. But those same orbs can get big as a beach ball or big as a car. They expand real quick. It's like they get excited. You get one excited, they all get, and they start showing off. Fly down the pond with sparks coming out of an orb. Really weird, but they do it. Some big, some small.
Chris, when you see these beings, how often are you physically seeing these beings where there are, you know, these creatures, these aliens walking on your property?
It's not very rare. I mean, it's not very common. That's kind of rare. The last time I saw it was last Easter Monday, which would be, today? Easter Monday night. We've had a terrible storm through here for 2 days, and I was kind of thinking we might have an experience over the weekend, but with the entities is very rare. It's probably happened a half a dozen times in 12 years. But with the orbs, it's a lot. And I have the evidence to prove it. pictures and videos and witnesses. But the entities they're like ghosts. They look like ghosts, not like full-blown solid figures. They look more like ghosts. Foggy, smoky.
So how do we know that what we're seeing are actual aliens and not something maybe angelic?
Well, that's the way I see them, as angelic beings. I mean, what are they? I don't know. But the reason I call them that is by the way they act spiritually. They respond in a spiritual, prayerful, humble manner. That's how they interact with me, through that type of manner, through a spiritual way. Prayer. It was a friend at NASA told me a long time ago. He said, you know, it's a little bit like the Bible says, where more than one are gathered together, we'll hear. And he said, it's a lot like that. So, you know, people get out and try to meditate and do all that and summon them. Maybe it works. But that's not as personal to me. It's more of a personal relationship with individuals that I've come to, you might say I've come to know. They're always there. There's 3 of them, always 3, or 6, or 9.
Do they come with
come in 3s usually?
Yeah. Do they come with other creatures too, whether it's creatures like Bigfoot or fairies or gnomes or anything like that?
Well, I've heard that, and, you know, I believe all that exists around us. We just can't see it. I think they're in a different frequency than we are, and they're able to control it where we can't. And maybe a reason why Bigfoot can be in your presence and you can't see it, but it can leave a footprint on the ground right in front of you, right? I've heard all kinds of things. Or they see them come out of a ball of light. I don't know, Dave. I've got a lot of pictures of orbs and video. And in those orbs are a lot of different entities, from birds to dogs to cats to people. And they're all around us. There are tens of millions. You can see them. A lot of people get orb pictures. You know, the flash bulb will show up a lot of orbs. And some people try to say they're all dust. Well, they're wrong. Not all dust. And it was not me that got me to filming orbs. It was scientists that got me to doing it. That's why I've got how I've been able to capture a lot of this. They knew I could, but they told me what to do and how to get these pictures. And so that's what I've been doing, you know, all these years is recording this stuff and sharing it with scientists.
We've got about 1 minute here before we need to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Chris BLEDSOE is our guest tonight. Chris, with all the evidence and the things you are getting, with whether it's the orbs or the mists or these beings that are traveling in 3s, 6s, or 9s, have you noticed a pattern that goes along with them? We got about 35 seconds.
I don't know if I've noticed a pattern at all there. I can't say as I know a pattern there. Anything that I could, you know, say for sure.
It always leaves you with more.
They're always there.
Yeah, it always leaves you with more questions than answers, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does.
You ever get sick of that?
No, I do, but I don't. I know it's coming. Truth is coming, and they're going to push it. You know, that was part of something I told last year that my experience at Easter with this entity was that there's going to be a revealing, and they were going to.
Well, let's learn about that revealing when we get back on Spaced Out Radio. Chris BLEDSOE continues with his amazing extraterrestrial story after this on Spaced Out Radio. reveal. That's where we'll go next. The reveal. I'm having a lot of fun tonight, man.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah. What kind of response are you getting?
Oh, lots of. I've already missed a bunch of questions because the chat rooms are just moving way too fast. There's 100 people live watching us right now on YouTube. You know, I don't know what the radio audience is as of yet. I won't know until after the show.
Wow.
But it'll be up there. It'll be up there.
So the radio, what radio are you working with? Is it iHeart or Revolution? Is it
online we're on with Revolution Radio and TalkStream Live. And then we're on 6 terrestrial radio stations in the United States, or 5 in the United States and 1 in Canada.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I kind of like it.
Yeah. Marvelous. I wish I could say more about this government stuff, but they don't like me talking a whole lot about it. I can say, you know, but if I started talking about the crash parts and stuff, they might get, you know, because I have held the stuff. I have seen it.
Yeah. Well, just remember we are still live on YouTube.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Science Bob is hanging out. He's listening in.
Tell Bob I just made a boo-boo.
Bob's growing a beard now. He sent me a photo the other day.
Oh,
he's growing a beard now. So yeah, he wants to be more Canadian lumberjack than Virginia Tech scientist, I believe.
He and I are supposed to come out to your place and maybe hunt for some Sasquatch and some UFOs and stuff sometime.
Oh yeah, you come on up. That's all. Doors open. Doors open for when you guys come on up. Have some fun.
We got that on our list to do.
Yeah. Well, I have it on my list to host you guys for a while. So I want to take you out there and show you the experience. And my buddy Mark will come with us because one of the areas we have to go in armed. So actually, most of the areas we got to go in armed.
You got bear?
One area where we got tracked, there's grizzly bears there, there's cougars there, there's black bears and big giant moose and all sorts of stuff that wants to kill you.
Yeah, wow.
Never mind the aliens.
I don't know if they've ever bothered anyone. Of course, maybe they have.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I suspect they're aliens and angels, both. But I know that based on my study and with the people that I study with, it's they're leaning more to my way.
Well, why not?
They have the big question too.
Yeah. And why not? I mean, to be blunt.
Right. Well, you think government has, if you listen to the UFO world, they have 9 machines in Area 51 and they fly them every day. And they have, they kill reptilians on Mars and they teleport. They have a space cruiser like Star Trek and, all that. Well, couldn't be further from true. We just had the toaster. I remember when they made the microwave, right? And the television and the telephone was all new when I was young. And to think we skipped, we're still playing with rocket fuel.
Oh, I hear you.
And you know what I'm saying? There's just too much of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine about this the other day. They were asking, what do you think is one of the biggest conspiracies out there? I said, the airline industry. I said, how the hell are we still playing with the technology when we could advance the airline industry so much further? Right?
Right.
So, but hey, when we're not in the big picture, in the big scheme of things, or in the boardroom, we don't really have a say.
That's right.
All right, we got about 1 minute here, boss.
Okay. Yeah, the reveal. We talk about the reveal. That would be the Easter experience last year.
Sure. Sure. All right. 30 seconds.
Cool.
All right, my friend, about 20 seconds. All right, here we go. All right, here we go, YouTube. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you like this show. Appreciate it. And no using the word squatch in the chat room. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to remind everybody that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and much more. And also, don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show. My personal handle, at Dave Scott SOR. Give us a follow. Tonight, we are talking about a wonderful ET experience that has been going on since 2007 with Chris BLEDSOE, who is our guest tonight. Chris, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you here, too. Now, you had a little bit of a revelation 1 year ago today that really, really defined everything and a lot of questions that you had. What happened the Easter weekend last year?
Well, you know, as everyone knows, I've been quiet, behind the scenes, not talking, working for the last 8 years, or since 2012, kind of behind the scenes. And I had no intention of coming out until this option agreement that I've signed on a television program that is in the works right now. So, in other words, I had no plans to come forward until the TV show brought it all out, right?
Right.
And that's been like that for 7.5 years. So I've had that along with government scientists that I've worked with that has kept me quiet. And so last year on Easter Monday, it was Monday afternoon, about, I don't know, it was an hour after dark. I walk outside. I live in a little cabin on a pond, and on about 15 acres. It's private here with a gate you come in. And so my back porch, I can fish off the back porch. I mean, literally 6 feet from the water. So I walk out the back door, and above the trees on the far side of the pond, you know, a couple 300 feet up in the air, appears, this orb appears. The minute I opened the back door, it appeared, and I knew it was reacting to me because it started getting excited. It started flashing very bright and growing in size, and it got up to about the size of a beach ball, I guess. And here it comes. out of the air, down through the tops of the pine tree, and spiraling in a spiral all the way to the ground on the other side of the pond. And now I knew it saw me. I knew it was coming. I had 2 dogs with me. They were seeing it as well. And so I pulled my cell phone out and turned it on and pointed it at this thing, and it on the other side of the pond. Now it's jumping up and down 10 feet in the air. It was going, if you could imagine seeing a ball of light go up and down like a ping pong ball bouncing, and it would turn from white to yellow to red in those colors. And I was terrified because I knew that it was some sort of entity, and if it got too close to me, it could make me more sick. And I was just believed that I got this rheumatoid from getting too close to this stuff. And that's been told to me by, it came all the way from the Pope, believe it or not. So about 8 or 9 minutes into seeing this orb on the other side of the pond, it is jumping up and down. In that 8 or 9 minutes, it starts to come towards me. Now here it is coming across the pond, jumping straight up and down. And it gets about 25 feet away from me. And now I'm terrified. My dog is barking. I look up at my phone thinking I'm recording this thing, and I never hit record. I just looking at it with my cell phone and thinking I'm recording the whole time. But the minute that I noticed that I didn't hit record, when I hit the record button, the orb didn't leave for this entity. It was a full-blown entity there. It didn't go anywhere. It stayed right in place. And for the next 18 minutes, I filmed it sitting in the middle of my pond, 25 feet from me. And it would come on at its feet, and it would go off. It would come on at its waist, and it would go off, and it would come on up about its head or shoulders, and it would go off. So I've got that, 18 minutes of it. And what it did is it told me, it said, and I heard it loudly, the whole 18 minutes I was sitting there, it just became a knowing. It said, now it's chapter 2. It's time to tell your story. Things are about to happen, which is going to bring about the revealing of sorts. It said we're going to show up in bigger numbers and make it impossible for the world not to know. We're going to help you through camera and through witness to prove this. And so after that happened, I told quite a few people what it said, including my friend Jim Semivan and Dr. McGuire and different ones, telling them that it was going to increase this year and that the revealing has started. And believe it or not, last week, in California, they had a big flap out there. In Mexico, they filmed this stuff. And then again in Detroit this week. And so it's starting to show up in a lot of places. A lot of people are seeing it. And it's only going to get more and more. And so that's why I told the story, Dave. That's why I went public. Immediately, I picked the phone up and I thought, I've got to tell this now. I didn't call Hollywood. I didn't call my manager. I didn't call anyone. I just picked the phone up and I looked who was the last one that texted me wanting an interview, and that was Chant Hannah, which I'd never met. And I texted her and said, you want to do an interview? And boy, that's when I did that. I get a phone call, and now I'm with Richard Dolan and I'm with Jimmy Church, and now I'm on with you. All this is because of that entity appearing at Easter last year and saying, now go tell the story. So I'm just following what I'm being told to do.
How do you trust that message for people who may not understand?
Well, 13 years of living with it and seeing how it has blessed my family. My kids have received blessings. And I was told by someone up in the government that that was going to happen. They said, give it 12 years. After 12 years, you'll see. Blessings will start. And I swear to you, this past year was 12 years, and all of a sudden, all my kids start getting blessings, and everybody in the family. Crazy offers, some jobs, and my little girl's 22 years old, 23, and she teaches music at NYU, New York University, making $100 an hour teaching music at 22. Now, whoever heard of such, right? All that happened after this entity came at Easter last year. So that's how I trust it, just knowing, just being around it, living it, and seeing the massive numbers of people I talk to that have experienced this stuff. I have 1,000 people that have called me or written me, wanting to tell their story, too afraid to tell it publicly because of ridicule. And a lot of them will be 70 and 80-year-old people. And I just listen. And I always let them tell me how it all started. And nearly every time, it starts with tragedy. And that's a fact. Everybody's having these experiences. Go back and look where you were in your life when it started. Did you lose a friend, a mother, a dad? You know, did you know, what kind of heartache, suffering? And that's where I found that triggers this thing the most, Dave, this trauma. So, you know, with that being said, that's why I trust it. I've been around it too long. I know it. You know?
Do you think, Chris, that you are a little bit of an anomaly because there are a number of experiencers and people out there who've claimed to have some ridiculously painful experiences at the hands of extraterrestrials?
I've heard that, but I've not seen any evidence. You know, I think a lot of people make stuff up, and then maybe somebody's had those kinds of experiences. But I would be wondering where their mind is, what they're thinking. Are they grounded in any kind of faith, or you know, because there's dark forces out there.
Yes.
But I wouldn't want to get their hands on me, and that's what I'm saying. If you're in the wrong stuff, you might get the wrong thing.
Okay, so with that and the idea that people are having negative experiences as well, do you believe that in your personal case, that because you have more of a direct faith with God, which a lot of people are agnostic these days, that is the reason why you have been shown almost a mercy in your encounters comparatively to other people?
I don't know how to answer that best, Dave. Shoot, I wouldn't know how to answer that. I just think it's timing. I think that it's time. It's the end of the age. It's the beginning of Aquarius. It's the end of time. The Bible talks about the end of the age would be the end of time. In other words, they started the calendar over day one under Pisces when Jesus was born. So now that would be the end of that time period, and we're going into a new world, a new awakening. So,
are people ready for it?
I think they're as ready as they're going to ever be, and with this this disease or virus going around. I don't think the world's going back the way it was. It's going to be forever different. And I think it's set the stage now for the revealing. That's what the entity said last year. Things are going to change. There's going to be trouble ahead. And it's time for a revealing. Time to play, to tell it. And we'll see where it goes, but I think they're going to show up a whole lot more and more all year. As the year goes along, you'll see more mass sightings of people from all around the world, really.
Mm-hmm.
I don't make a lot of predictions, but I'm making that one.
Well, I'm curious to get your opinion on this then, because, we've talked on this show recently about the fact that I don't think people are ready because, look at how we're acting these days with the pandemic that is surrounding us. People have gone into complete hysteria, at least at the beginning. The things have calmed down now. But when you're going out and buying toilet paper and buying all the meat and 10, 12 jugs of milk, knowing that, you only got milk good for a few days, the ridiculousness that has happened with the pandemic, I could just imagine what could happen with people who are not prepared for anything extraterrestrial. And I just can't help but think that there is no way on God's green earth here that people are ready for any sort of contact from the stars when we can barely handle thinking properly during a scenario like we're facing right now.
Make you think, won't it? Right. I don't know. I think it's according to how it's told. If you tell the world like they did in Orson Welles in the 30s, we're being attacked by this ship from Mars with claws, and people went out and started shooting at water towers and everything. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. We tell the world that you got aliens that coming to eat us. They grow us for food, and they're taking people and stealing and killing and feeding on us. Well, that's one of the ideas that's being knocked around out there, and I've heard it. But you tell that to the world, and you'll lose us all. It'll be untrue.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it's all about the truth. You have to tell the truth. How it affects us, you can't deviate from the truth.
Unfortunately,
tell the truth. I think we're ready.
Unfortunately, we have players in this game like Tom DeLonge who've already tried that fear-mongering portion. And I know he's a friend of yours. I know you're in contact with him, and I'm not saying that as a shot to him, but that it is polar opposite of what you just stated, my friend.
Yeah, but when we're sitting together, he's asking me too, right? He don't know. He just filmed it. He got a good little video off the coast last week in that flat.
Yes, he did.
And he's asking himself, what in the world is it? What are we dealing with? And those things are 40 foot long, and they're egg shaped or tic tac shaped. And that's the exact same thing that I described in 2007, a 40 foot long egg shaped thing laying on its side, not standing up, but laying flat like a football or an egg, 40 foot, 45 foot. And by those descriptions is what got government people that really knew, what they were looking at. They've been tracking this tic tac off the coast with submarines and with ships and so on. And so here's some boy down in North Carolina talking about an orange 40-foot egg. Well, you can imagine, here they come. And that's how it all started with me and some of these scientists. They knew I wasn't lying, and I was able to share it with them. Let them, share the experience. John Alexander, he's a prime example. He's one of the most well-known UFO investigators out there. He's been in, I think, 80 or 90 countries officially investigating UFOs. He's done it for the government forever and ever. Well, he comes to the house, and I got to share an experience with him and told him ahead of time, John, it's about to appear. It's here right now. And it did. Within 10 seconds, it appeared in front of him and I and my daughter and his wife. And it, it didn't fly over. It didn't come from, a satellite. We're talking something that appeared in a flashing, pulsating ball of light. And then it got solid, as it always does. It comes in flashing. And once it gets here, it flashes for a minute, and then it stops and gets to be a solid ball of light. And it flew away. Well, that changed John. That changed his life. And he was on the phone calling people in Washington and everywhere at that very second. So there's a lot of people that know about these experiences and that have been here and seen them. Very important people.
What's the purpose of you wanting to show all these people about this, though, Chris? Is it for confirmation for yourself, or the fact that you want your own personal answers to what is going on?
It's because I made a deal with the lady. She came and I was in agony at that time because I wanted to tell it, but I'm being depressed and oppressed by family and church and everybody. You're dealing with the devil. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And so when the lady came in 2012, she said, I'm here. And I knew why. I knew because I had struggled. I'd let the world influence me into my thinking. And I would, maybe I'm being fooled. Maybe demons came and healed me. Maybe demons answered prayer. I'm thinking all this crazy stuff. And, she came to say, no, you're right. You know your heart. Tell what you know, and I'll help you. And so I went to asking for help. And the first thing was the burning tree with Dr. Pasolka. She calls me and says, Hollywood wants to meet you. I'm like, I don't want to meet them people. They already ruined my life just about in 2008. And she says, you got to meet them. I said, well, I'd have to have a sign. So I go outside and I asked the lady, and I'd just seen her recently, right? And I can never forget that. And I said, you said you're going to help me. So here, did you send these Hollywood people in my way for me to meet them? Should I meet them? This lady, Dr. Pasolka, I met her 2 weeks after I met the lady. I would have never met Dr. Pasolka had the lady come. I'm telling you, it would have never happened. And she's so important because we study together. She comes from the religious side. So the tree, I walk out on Thursday night and Diana's calling me all week. You coming to Wilmington to meet these people? No, Diana, I haven't got a sign. She called me again. You coming? No, I didn't get a sign. And then on Thursday night, my wife and I walk out back. It's been raining for 2 days and it was just misty and foggy. And about 75 or 100 yards back on the back of our property, this tree just erupts into fire. So I called Diana and said, here's I have the confirmation to come meet you. I'll see you in the morning. So you see, I've spent all these years asking this information to the stars, to the lady, to these entities, and they always have a way of confirming
on
the
that
visual.
And on that note, Chris, I'm going to get you to hold on because we're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. We have Chris BLEDSOE, experiencer of the paranormal, supernatural, ufological, extraterrestrial. We have him for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio. Then we will get to the Thought of the Dave and the SOR Newswire in Hour 3, a jam-packed third hour coming up on the mighty SOR. Stay tuned. I'm still having fun. Are you, Chris?
Yeah. Just ratting away. You know.
Oh, I think it's fantastic.
It's not too dull for the people.
No, you're doing great. My friend, I'm just going to run my dogs outside because I can hear them scratching at the door. I'll be right back here, okay? Give me a couple minutes.
TalkStream Live is always on 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month, and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night, where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up.
All right, my friend, we're back. We've got about 3.5 minutes here.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Say Bob's in the chat room.
Oh, yeah. Science Bob is in the chat room. He says Dave may not be full of shit, but his dogs are.
Oh. That sounds like him, right?
That's our friend Science Bob right there. Wears a white cape. I love him. I love him.
I do too.
Thank you. One sec here.
Been here.
Thank you, Lee A, for the $20 super chat. Really do appreciate that. That's awfully kind. Science Bob, the same. And everybody else who has donated on the super chat tonight. Really appreciate the help out here. It's kind of awesome. All right. Sorry about that. I just had to get that in. We got like 2 minutes, Chris.
That's okay.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a much bigger flap here. Watch.
I hope so.
By June, anyhow. I think so.
I hope so.
We'll keep going.
I'm waiting.
It's been years, years of dry, nothing. Then all of a sudden, these orange lights appearing last week and this week. Did you see the one in Detroit where the black family filmed the about 20 orbs over Detroit?
Yeah, that was weird. That one was weird.
Yeah. I love hearing the guy.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why the coronavirus is here. There ain't no coronavirus. This is the real reason. I loved it. But all that is important. It's all happening. So, it's what they told me. It's what this entity told me. They were going to reveal the truth, whether we wanted it or not.
All right, 30 seconds,
It
boss.
has to be done the right way.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. I think it'll, I think there'll be some awakening moments coming up here. That's for sure.
This year.
All right. 10 seconds here. Thank you to everybody on YouTube for following us tonight. Really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who's donated in the super chat. And don't forget to go get your SOR gear at our website, spacedoutradio.com/shop. Here we go with hour 3.
Would you like to connect with us?
Music is on.
Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, along with the digital side of TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Quantitative. Quantitative is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and staying up to date on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter during the show, #SpacedOutRadio, at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle, at Dave Scott SOR. For the final time tonight, we introduce Chris Bledsoe. He has had some amazing experiences the last almost 13 years. Since 2007, he has been visited. He has been able to summon. He has proven to many people who have visited him that this phenomena that is going on is real. Top scientists across the United States have studied him. The government has studied him in the United States. It's a phenomenal story. Chris, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave. Glad to be here, brother.
My friend, I know it's a touchy subject, all right, because there's so much you cannot say. However, I am going to ask you, in regards to the way you have, kind of propped up the United States government and some of their officials who have been in contact with you and really helped you understand what is going on, what do you think it is they want from you?
Well, it's all dealing with national security, right? And their whole intentions are to find out what we're dealing with. They want to know just like you and I want to know. And so you would naturally think that the people that protect this country would be involved in this to some extent, wanting to know what we're dealing with. So that's the best way I can answer that. They want to know what we're dealing with, just like we do. But they come at it more from a national security standpoint. You know, is it a threat? Is it about the Bible, or is it about something in between that? I don't know. We're all trying to learn, is all. Everybody's in it for the same.
Have they been open with you about what you've seen and been able to explain anything to you?
Well, not that they explain to me. It's more that we have general, in other words, they pick my brain, right? And I try to pick theirs the same. But it's usually always the same thing. It's just like you and I. Well, maybe they have parts. Maybe they have something that they found somewhere, like Dr. Pasolka talks about, but they have no clue how it works. And they have no clue of what it is we're dealing with. They want to know just like you and I. And I hate to break the UFO world's heart, believing that we have 9 space traveling machines locked away in S4B or Area 51. I'm sorry, but I just don't believe all that based on the people that I know and the people that I have dealt with. And that goes deep, all the way to Lockheed Martin. Let's just put it that way.
Do you feel that you're the only one in this situation that they are checking on out, or do you feel there are others like you that they are following as well, but they've maybe not become public as you have?
I think that they've met a lot of people. I don't know who else they would be studying. You know, I never asked that question, but I do know there are other people that they've investigated, quite a few. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I just know that they've been around me and my family for the better part of 13 years, and they're not going anywhere. They're still there. And it's very comforting because I can dial them up if I feel threatened at all. I've had to.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was saying I've been threatened before, and I've had to make some phone calls to get that pressure off of my family. There's some crazy people out there.
Couple questions from our audience. Okay, sorry. Yeah, it's not the government. It's private people who have threatened you about your experiences, correct?
Right.
All right. Couple questions from our audience. Vinny is asking, Chris, are there any other experiences that you like to hear about or like to talk about that you've had?
I don't know that there's just so many that's happened. Not any particular one. I mean, if my children were on here or my wife, or they would love to chime in, and we'd get together. We'd kind of come up with, do you remember this time or that? I don't know what would be the one experience that tops it all. Just the recent one was very special to me. It was with Dr. McGuire, and I like to let him tell it. But you know, he came here and he wrote me on Thanksgiving and asked me if it would be possible for he and his wife to come pay a visit. And I told him I thought so. I actually went to praying about it. over New Year's, because Bob was coming to talk about trying to record some of this stuff. He's creating a new company, UAPTN, that's unidentified aerial phenomenon tracking. So he comes and just to talk about it, just to meet and to hang out and have fun. And it was rainy and cloudy for most of the weekend, but on Sunday night it cleared up and we go out, and I just told Bob I'd had good response over New Year's, asking if I should work with him, and that I got a good, good response. So yes. And so I asked in front of him on Sunday night, 8:30. And within a minute or two, here the first thing starts flying over. And for the next hour, it was pretty intense with orbs in the trees. And he'd have to tell the story, but that was a very satisfying experience for me to share with Dr. McGuire, because it changed his life, and his wife has experienced some stuff afterwards that is wonderful. I think she was experienced some healing effects from this experience he had here, and I don't want to tell too much of that. I leave it for him to tell, but that's what I love about this thing. That's why I like sharing it. I've spent my whole last 8-9 years trying to help people that are sick. Introduce them to this and ask, would you help this person? And I've seen it happen more than one time where people get blessings. So I trust it.
All right, let's get to another question here. This one from A. Bauman, who is asking, if these beings are angelic, why do you have to be afraid? Shouldn't the angels be able to protect you?
Well, yes, but if you study with like Dr. Pasulka, why she's so important, I met her, and she's one of the leading angelic scholars in the world. And nearly every experience biblically with an angel was a horrible, terrifying experience. Horrible, scary. None of it was never really good. In fact, there's a story about Saint Paul or Saul on the road to Damascus, when a light supposedly appeared and blinded him. Well, the truth, in his first handwriting, Paul said that a ball of light came out of the sky, knocked him off his horse, took him up to the third level of heaven. He thought they were demonic entities. They put a thorn in his side, which is an implant, and he tried to dig it out, and it would move about. And then after a while, he realized what he was dealing with was angelic beings. This is all firsthand Paul, the guy that wrote Acts in the Bible. You won't read it in ours, but Dr. Pasulka has access to this information, firsthand writings of Paul. So it's always been written about for forever, So angelic beings are not necessarily the little babies with the bow and arrows you see, cute little babies. I would think they were more like what we experienced on the river that night. These glowing entities with a triangle on his chest.
Right. What did the triangle look like?
It looked like this entity's 3.5, 4 feet tall, and on its chest has a dark, this thing's glowing like a light bulb, but in its chest, I could see a black or dark looking triangle, probably 6 or 8 inches tall. And, I drew it. It's a little taller than a normal triangle, but it had a triangle on its chest. And that got a lot of attention, I can tell you, from the powers that be, because what we do know is that in the artifacts that Dr. Pasulka talks about, there's a particular artifact that I've seen that has that triangle stamped inside of it. It's on this I-beam. These purple hieroglyphics you hear about, I've seen that. I have seen it firsthand, and it has the same triangles. And I asked, what does that mean? And they tell me it was from the universal creation of life, is what it means.
Joe has a question for you. He is asking, Chris, have you ever been told, or have you asked the aliens when they will reveal themselves?
Well, yeah, I've asked them that, but, I'd never get that, basically an answer on that kind of question. But they did tell me last year this entity at Easter came and said, we're going to do a revealing of sorts. So I don't know when it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, and it already is happening based on the flat, from California last week and Detroit, and it's only going to grow. It's going to get more so to where people can't avoid it. In other words, this is what they're telling me. They're going to force the issue, and they're going to help us. It's got to be told the right way. It can't be told as a lie to scare the people.
Follow up from Joe. He is asking, in regards to that triangle that you just talked about moments ago, did it have two horizontal lines on it? Now, with Joe, I always like to make fun of Joe because he refuses to admit he's a contactee, which he is.
Well, I have seen 3 different triangles. When I was taken on board the craft, there were symbols inside the craft, or this ball of light that took me. There were symbols, and I drew them, recorded them, and there were a couple of triangles, one with 2 horizontal lines and one with a dot above it. But the one on the beam is like a triangle with a circle around it. That was the one that stuck in my head the most, a triangle with a circle around the triangle.
So if you were, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, I was told by my friends from the aerospace industry that, and this is very important, that is the universal symbol of creation of life. The universal creation of life, the symbol of it. So maybe these beings are known throughout the universe. Maybe that's their symbol.
Have you ever been told where they come from?
I heard 50 million light years from here is, that's the only place I've heard. I know that there's an artifact that I've had in my hands. I've held some of this stuff, and I was told it came from 50 million light years away. And it can get here in 2 hours or less. Wow. And it don't crash. None of them crash. It don't happen. If it was here, it was given to us as a gift. Now, that's a lot of secret I threw out there. It's okay.
What's it like to hold alien material? What does it feel like?
Electrocuted me to first start with. I held 2 different parts at one time, the inner core and the outer core, the lining piece. And by doing that, it created a connection and made me black out right in front of several people, including my whole family. They all saw it. But holding one piece is like feeling a piece of aluminum. If you get the right 2 pieces, one in each hand, it gave me a big shock.
How did you know they were alien materials? Were they given to you from these beings?
No. There were people. And we're getting a little sensitive here. I can't say much about.
Right.
Dinah talks about it in her book. She talks about it. See, I was dealing with that long before her, and so I can't say no more there.
No, I understand that. I understand that. There's so for people who don't understand, Chris does have some NDAs that or non-disclosure agreements that he has to follow and abide by for future projects that he is working on. So if he says he can't explain it, that is the reason why. He's not trying to dodge the questions. That's, when you sign an NDA, there's certain things you have to be able to hold off on. So that's kind of what it's at. We have about 4 minutes left with you, Chris, tonight on the show, and it's been an absolute pleasure. In the end, what do you think the goal is for you? What's this impact on your future?
I think I'm a happy father of 4 children, married for 37 years this year, and life's been good. I don't see life like I used to. I used to have a lot of different desires than this question you just asked me. Now, what am I supposed to do? I'm just going to dedicate my time to sharing this subject, and hopefully over the next few years get people to understand that it's real, that I'm not trying to sell anybody on any one thing. Like, I know what I'm talking about, because nobody really knows. But what I do know is it's real, and it's interacting, and I have proven it, and without a doubt, and I have the data to prove it without a doubt. So it's time for the world to wake up and let people like Dr. Bob and different ones that are brilliant scientists, so they can free up and start studying this stuff and help us figure out what it is. That's what I could say. I'm just trying to help. I want to bring the truth to the world any way I can.
And what's the next step for you personally on this? Is it to continue your own experiments with them to see what's going on? Is it to bring in more people to try and figure it out, as we got about 2 minutes left?
Well, I think that I'm really busy working on some major projects that will play out over the next 5 or 6 years if this happens. And it'll be something that'll be teaching this, sharing it to the world, and maybe an ongoing process. You know what I'm saying? Like, ongoing. And I can't say much more there, but I'm really busy involved in the disclosure side with television and other things.
Right. What would you like to say to the UFO community in regards to your situation and either their criticalness or their skepticism regarding the experiencer?
Well, I'll speak to the people that the skeptics I don't have time for. I don't even talk to them, because it's not worth my time wasting my energy trying to prove something to somebody that they don't have the mental capacity to understand it. No matter how much you show them or tell them or prove to them, they'll always they can't get it. So they'll always be that skeptic. So I'll waste my time on people that want to know, that's looking for answers and not looking for trouble. I would say hang in there and watch the sky. It's gonna get more apparent to us all to see in the sky. I'm sure of that. And hopefully, between now and the next 4 or 5 years, the truth will come out more and more to where we get serious scientists that are willing to put their name on the not worry about getting ridiculed. In other words, a lot of scientists won't get involved in this because they're worried about ridicule.
I hear you there, my friend.
We need to bring the scientists in here
Chris,
and let's work together and figure it out.
Chris, I got to say goodnight to you. Chris BLEDSOE, everybody stay in touch with him on Facebook. He'll be around. More Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this. All right, my friend. We are good. We are done.
I appreciate it, Dave. I hope it was okay. I felt kind of lost a lot, but maybe it all turned out to be a decent show.
Oh, yes. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. You hit a home run with us tonight, man. Thank you.
Good. I appreciate that, Dave.
Not a problem, my friend. I'll let you get to bed, and then let's talk soon.
Okay, brother. Call me anytime.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. He is such a nice guy. Honestly, such a nice guy. Love Chris BLEDSOE. Love Chris BLEDSOE. Just a fantastic, fantastic guy. I mean, how anybody can prejudge him and say that he is full of crap, he's full of whatever it may be, it is a little ridiculous. A little ridiculous. I mean, you can tell just by his voice and his candor that he doesn't have a bone in his body that is mean to anybody. And for people in the UFO community, whether it was MUFON or UFO Twitter or anybody like that, to jump down his throat and try and say that this guy is full of crap, shame on them. Shame on them. Right? I mean, he has university scientists coming to his door and studying this phenomena, and things are happening. All right? It's not just the government. Whether or not you trust the government is irrelevant. But Chris is a real deal. The absolute real deal. And he really needs some slack. So, I mean, hey, you can believe any story that you want or not. But I'm telling you, he's a man without an agenda. And because of his honesty, because of the way he carries himself, there is a bunch of people behind the scenes that don't put up with the UFO bullshit in the community that are trying their darndest, to help this guy out who is struggling with his health, struggling financially, because he's never made a dime off of this. And, we as a community, this is a prime example of where we have to do better. And, follow Chris. You want to see some of the real stuff? That's what's happening. And follow the people who are helping him. Okay? Follow the people who are helping him. Hey, Autopilot, thank you for the donation in the super chat. Really do appreciate that. That's awfully kind of you. Awfully kind of you. Appreciate that. And yeah. Oh, I am so uncomfortable tonight in here. I don't know why. Just uncomfortable tonight. Oh, let's see here. We've got about 3 minutes here. Josh Lawnstrickler is booked for Monday, May 4th. Monday, May 4th. Sorry, I'm trying to just stay up to date on all the chat rooms here. So yeah, Lawnstrickler, Monday, May 4th. No, I haven't been touched a second time tonight. It was just that one time. Yeah, I think we topped out at 103. All right, we got just over 1 minute here. Yeah, Josh, Lon actually contacted me last week, and he's like, hey, my new book's out. I said, when do you want to come on? And I gave him some dates. He's like, May 4th works well for me. I'm like, good, we'll see you then. He's like, okay, thanks, talk to you then. I mean, that's pretty much how Lon talks. I love Lon. I do. I think he's an awesome dude. By the way, those of you with iPhones, make sure you type in pew pew to somebody. P-E-W, P-E-W. Put a space in between if you haven't already and see what happens. It's kind of cool. Hey, Bino CZ, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you tuning us in. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to our channel if you don't mind. Really appreciate that. All right, we got about 20 seconds here.
Where at the SOR Vault today.
Doo-doo. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. I want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rockin' Out to Bumblefoot. And don't forget to read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated daily. And you can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, hashtag Spaced Out Radio, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we'll get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the anniversaries. You know what? I got a couple of things before I get into the news, a couple of things I want to mention. And I want to give a shout out to a couple of important people in my life who are no longer with us. All right. Today would have been my nephew Bryce's 31st birthday. He died on July 17th, 2018. He was in rehab for a fentanyl addiction. And unfortunately, his rehab didn't go as planned, and he went back, and it was just one hit. Just one hit. Now, if you looked at my nephew, he was one of these dudes. He was about 5'11", probably 215, 220 pounds of solid muscle. You know, he didn't look like a junkie. He didn't look like someone who was, you know, a bum on the streets, you know, getting all infected with pockmarks and scabs and everything like that. He had an addiction. He loved life. He loved his family, but he had a demon. And that demon was called fentanyl. And, you know, I've kind of gone through this transition because I used to cry a lot over this, because I was 15 years old. My sister, his mother, is 10 years older than me. And I was 15 years old when I became an uncle. And, you know, I grew up with him. And the fact that he's not here is I'm through that sadness mode. I'm in the anger mode now. And I think we all kind of take these different steps And I find myself very, very angry. Angry with society, the way we treat people, the way we treat addicts, the way we treat those who want help. Look, people get addicted to things all the time, whether it's video games, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's alcohol, fentanyl, heroin, pot, you name it. People, we are an addictive society. And sometimes those people need help. So if you are an addict, if you are an alcoholic, if you are somebody out there who is just struggling, remember, there is a support system out there for you, whether you're in Canada, whether you're in the United States, or wherever you are listening to this in the world. We love you. You are loved. And probably the biggest message that I could give everybody on this, okay, if you're struggling with any type of substance abuse or any type of addiction, all right, you have value. All right? Never forget that you have value. My nephew forgot that he had value. I know other people who have forgotten that they have value. The fact that you are a survivor from the time you entered the egg until now shows that you have value. Sure, life may not have been fair, whether it's the choices of your own or choices that others have made around you that have affected you. All right? But never forget that you have value. And that's the one message I tried to teach my nephew. And we all failed as a family. You know, as I said in his eulogy, you know, fentanyl may have won the battle, but they didn't win the war. They didn't win the war. So please, if you are in recovery, if you have recovered, or you are somewhere in between or not knowing what to do, remember, around here at Spaced Out Radio, you have value. You have value. And there are plenty of people within our Spaced Out Radio community who would love to donate their time to talk with you if you need somebody to talk to. Okay? If you just need a voice, there's always somebody there. That's the beautiful part of what we do. It's a beautiful part about our community, and that's how we bring things together. So rest in peace, my little Stu. I love you. I'll always remember you. And we move on. Next, it's also the 2-year anniversary of the passing of the legend, Art Bell. The hard part for what I do and many other show hosts do is trying to do our own thing without being compared. It is the worst when the best came first. It really is. Because let's face it, we all know there will never be another Art Bell. We all know that we're all playing second fiddle. We all know that he captivated us for 20 plus years on the radio. And we have to be able to move on, but we're allowed to remember the memories. The beautiful part of what we have now with YouTube, with podcasting and everything, is that we are able to sit there and we are able to listen to that legendary voice, to that legendary way he delivered his words, his questioning, the people he talked to, with whether it was open lines or whether the way he interviewed guests. And you know what? We love him. We all respect him for the job that he did. And I can tell you this. I don't know if I would be doing this if it wasn't for him, because I remember driving home from the radio station late at night. I had an hour's drive to get home, and he was good company. And, you know, but there's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of good broadcasting out there right now, probably the best and the most that there's ever been. But just remember that there are many of us out there who are not trying to be the next Art Bell. We are trying to be the first one of us. So whether it's this show, whether it's other shows within this community, give them an opportunity. Don't judge them against the best, because nobody will ever compete with that. Okay? Now, if they're using the name in vain or trying to make a living off of, Art Bell this, Art Bell that, something we have never done around here, then I would question it, because that's not honest broadcasting. But for those of us who love what we do because we got to do it, because we had that personal Art Bell experience, we are all better off for it. So rest in peace, Art Bell. I hope you're listening in. I hope you're having a great time up wherever you are. And most of all, I hope that you got the answers that you were looking for. And one day, maybe you'll come back and share them with us. Let's get to the news. A 93-year-old Pennsylvania woman who's pleaded neighbors for more beer has gone viral on social media, and literally her request has been fulfilled by Coors Light. Olive Veronzi, who lives in Seminole, went viral after a Facebook photo was shared showing her standing with a can of Coors Light and holding a sign in her window reading, "I need more beer." Veronzi said several people have since reached out offering her beer. She goes, "It's nice, something for a young lady." Coors Light said in a Twitter post that Veronzi would soon be receiving some beer directly from the company. Olive asked, and beer is on its way, Coors has stated, posting that beautiful picture with her giant smile. Good for Coors. Good for Coors for stepping up with that. Here's something really cool, too, in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Some children's birthdays are being celebrated this month and next with all the bells and whistles that a fire truck can provide. Shy of a ride anyhow, Aberdeen Fire and Rescue, Watertown Fire and Rescue, and the Brookings Fire Department want to help recognize kids' birthdays during the coronavirus outbreak. So the effort started on April 2nd. The fire department came and they brought me a bag with 2 glow sticks and pencils and Rice Krispie treats and a plastic fire helmet, said youngster Tate Odland. They did that because it's my birthday and my mom called them. That's awesome. Tate turned 11 that day, the day the truck made the stop by his house. He was all smiles as the spring snow fell and the family gathered outside to wave and thank the crew. The fire department rolled up several residences that day with sirens blaring at each stop. Firefighters dropped off a helmet filled with a care pack item and treats. The gifts were being left in the boulevard to respect social distancing guidelines. When the Aberdeen Fire Station put a post on Facebook offering the celebrations, it fielded calls from excited parents wanting to create a special birthday surprise for their children during a time when schools are closed and isolation efforts mean the usual birthday party options are restricted. As of late afternoon, the Aberdeen crew had confirmed more than 80 requests with more filtering in, said Chief Randy Meister. Good for them. Way to put a smile on children's faces. Uh-oh. Hey, when this is all over, stay out of New York. All right? Stay out, because the rats are mad. Yes. With restaurants, grocery stores, people throwing garbage on the ground or in containers, okay, it has cut off the food source for many rodents. On deserted streets across North America and around the world, rats are now in dire survival mode, experts say. If you take rats that have been established in an area or somebody's property and they're doing well, the reason they're doing well is because they're eating well. Bob Corrigan, an urban rodentologist, has said, ever since Corona broke out, not a single thing has changed with them because someone's doing their trash exactly the same in their yard as they've always done it, poorly. But many other rats are not faring so well, says Corrigan, who works as a consultant with several city health departments and businesses, such as airports and shopping malls. A restaurant all of a sudden closes now, which has happened by the thousands, not just in New York City, but across the continent, around the world. And for those rats that were living by the restaurant, someplace nearby, and perhaps for decades having generations of rats that depended on that restaurant food, well, life is no longer working for them, and they only have a couple of choices, and the choices are grim. They include cannibalism, rat battles, and infanticide. It's just like we've seen in the history of mankind, where people try to take over the lands and they come with the militaries and armies and fight to the death, literally, for who's going to conquer that land. And that is what is happening right now with rats, he says. A new army of rats coming in, and whichever army has the strongest rats is going to conquer that area. Rats whose food sources have vanished will not just move into other colonies and cause fights over grub, they'll also eat one another, the dirty scoundrels. They're mammals just like you and I, and so when you're really, really hungry, you're not going to act the same. You're going to act very bad, usually, he says. So the rats are fighting with one another. Now the adults are killing the young in the nest and cannibalizing the pups. Residents of dense urban areas and some rural parts of the country have coexisted with these vermin, but the sightings in some cities have increased in recent weeks because of the pandemic. In New Orleans, where Louisiana's governor imposed a stay-at-home order that shuttered many restaurants, particularly those in the popular tourist area like the French Quarter, videos posted have shown in March swarms of rats taking to the streets to find food, and officials said social distancing is to blame. What we have seen in these practices are driving our rodents crazy, Mayor Latoya Cantrell said at a news conference. And what do rodents do? They will find food. They will find water. That puts our street homeless in dire strait. And that's why she is focused on them right now. Oh, yes, this is a big pandemic. And finally, all right, a British police department posted a reminder on Twitter not to call the emergency number to report a neighbor for snoring. The Essex Police Communications Officer tweeted that a call came in this past Sunday to the department's 999 emergency number reporting that the caller could hear someone snoring loudly. An unusual 999 call came at this time of the day. Caller reporting they can hear someone snoring. Advice was given to them, and the snoring is never a reason to call 999, no matter how annoying it is, the officer tweeted. The tweet used the hashtag emergencies only, reminding the public that 999 is only in Europe for reporting emergency situations. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as followed. What have you learned from your ET, cryptid, or paranormal experiences? I'm going to start off with Goddess Michelle. I have learned to expect everything and dismiss nothing. That should be, I have learned to expect everything and to dismiss nothing. We got it. We figured it out, Michelle. We're good that way. All right. Marty, who provided a fantastic clown on Twitter for hashtag Spaced Out Radio, as he does for every portion of this show. He goes, I've learned that although I have a keen interest in ETs, cryptids, and the paranormal, I have yet to experience any phenomena personally. That has led me to somewhat being a skeptic. Cynthia, it's taught me that anything is possible to exist. I just don't know what it is. Anthony, to always stay alert and keep an open mind. Can't see what you aren't open to. Nathan, they speak more on the verbal levels. They communicate on multiple levels, verbal, mental, emotional, and visually. Ronnie, that these phenomena are all connected, that my consciousness is allowing more doors to open, that we are changing, evolving psychically. Let it happen. Open up to it. Don't fight it or block it. That's only stunts your consciousness. A51S on Twitter, they pretty chill beings. Jace, that there is a lot of truths and untruths out there. It's sad. Ghost Cat Dave, investigate with respect and caution. They have feelings too. James, it's not all dimensional and we're not a part of it. Some intuitives and psychics are, but most are not. If you haven't experienced anything, you're not trying. Patty, be afraid. Be very afraid. Okay. I guess we're supposed to be afraid, according to Patty. Let's move on here. Kat, that our world is more than what we see. David, I feel I learned that death on this planet is not the end. Natasha, that everything cannot be explained away. Russell, humans are barely entry-level intelligence. Okay. Nikki, regarding specific ETs, your human body is your freaking laboratory, or their freaking laboratory. You're their lab rat. Regarding cryptids, specifically Sasquatch, they're choosing certain humans and trying to help enlighten them so they can become mouthpieces of coming information. Regarding paranormal, bring in your dancing shoes and hold on tight. It's going to be one hell of a bumpy ride. Richard, their technology is just as fallible as ours. Scott, our reality is being manipulated. Park, don't relate it to anyone. Oh, yeah, that's true. There's some people out there who really can handle it. Renee in Denmark, how you doing? Renee says, there is more to this universe than we can see. Very true, my friend. John, that far too many people have closed minds. Michelle, UFO investigator, former guest here. Michelle Deschamps. I learned that the world and the universe that surrounds us is even more mysterious than we could possibly imagine. Kevin Day from the Nimitz Incident. He's got fantastic hair, high and tight. He goes, I learned how to Google. Of course you did. Of course you did. How's the radar looking these days? Any UFOs on there? Any Tic Tacs? I forgot to ask Kevin when I met him in San Francisco if he buys Tic Tacs now, as just a reminder. James, it's a giant mirror that shows your true content of the soul curator. Nate, have experienced all three. There are things in this world we just don't understand. I want to know. That is what fuels the search for the truth in me. And Karen says that we are very insignificant in the grand scheme of things, that this life on Earth isn't it. There's definitely something after this. Final word goes to T. Allen Greenfield, the author of The Secret Cipher of the UFO Knots. He says, sometimes they evoke the sense of wonder. Sometimes they bite. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Day. We will do it all again tomorrow. Big thanks to Captain Shirk for the news and to Chris Bledsoe for coming on in and telling his story about ET contact. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody participating in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and our website, and to all the snarkers and snarkettes hanging out on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You were beautiful tonight. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your night with us, because together, my friends,
make a mistake, we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a great night, everybody. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Come join us, will you? Good night. That's a good show, people. That's a very good show. Very good show. I'm happy about this one. Very happy about this one. Very happy about this one. Yeah, thank you so much for being a part of it. You guys are absolutely amazing. Let me just shut things off here. Oh, wow. That was high quality broadcasting right there, people. High quality broadcasting right there. Good guest, good stories. absolutely perfect out there. Absolutely perfect. Right? That's what we love. That's what we absolutely love around here. So, you know, we want to say thank you to everybody tuning us in and enjoying tonight's show. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That was a good one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm happy with it. Thank you for all the kind comments about my nephew as well. That means a lot. He was a good kid. Very nice of all of you to do that. My head always feels so much better when I take the headphones off. Let's see. All right, close that off. Close that off. Oh, yay, I get to edit now. Oh, fuck, I forgot. Oh. All right, cool stuff. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks. Totally sucks. But you know what? It's all good. Dave's got a lot of hair. Dave's got a lot of hair. I haven't even started growing the sides yet, Lisa. I got to get my sides and back cut so that way it doesn't get heavy. Oh, Cosmic Grandmaster Robin's here because he just announced that he's ripped one. You know? Absolutely. That's good radio. I'm happy about this show tonight. Very happy about it. So I'm showing like 74. Could you do a show without headphones? No, I couldn't because the reverb from the headphones, Stu, would come through the microphone, and then you guys would be able to hear it. So I gotta wear the headphones. I don't mind wearing headphones. I'm so used to them, but like it's just like when you pull them off, it's like heaven. It's like heaven comes aboard. It is so cool. What else do we got here? Yeah. Hey, Bino, thank you for coming on in, or Bino, or whatever it may be. I'm sorry. Let's go like this. We're going to view episode. We're going to download this right now. Dave, rewind when you started speaking about art. Looked like the light flashed and dimmed. Oh, weird. Weird. I'm still trying to figure out, who or what touched my arm. That was pretty cool. That was actually really, really cool. Let's see here. Hi, Jeannie. How you doing? Still 76 people here. My gosh, people. Like, that is so awesome. I'm sorry to hear that, Jeannie. Sorry to hear that, sweetheart. We just got to remind people that, no matter how dire the situation is, that they have value. And that's probably the biggest thing I learned from my nephew is value. And God damn, I miss him. I don't know if it was my nephew or not. I didn't feel him all day. So maybe it was. Maybe it was. Hopefully it was. I haven't felt him or heard from him in a while. Kind of liked him. But is what it is. Fuck. But goddamn fentanyl. Yeah. Oh, let's see here. Oh, much love to all of you guys. Much love to all of you. Seriously. It's a tough road that we hoe, and this shit isn't fair on this planet. But the beautiful part about it is one day we all get to figure it out. At least I hope. At least I hope. Because I need some fucking answers. Pardon my language. But I do. I need some answers. What's with these aliens? Tell me about these aliens. What's with this alien thing? Tell me about it. Oh, well. Let's see here. What's that so far? Sorry, if you're wondering why I'm looking over this way, I'm doing my editing right now, so that's kind of what I'm doing. So just bear with me. You guys can hang out. Bledsoe's awesome, though. My God, is he awesome. What a great guy. Just a fantastic human being. You ever get the chance to meet him? Like if he's at a conference or something, go. He has time for everybody. He has absolute time for everybody, which is awesome. He wants to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to chat with him. He is just that down to earth. That down to earth. I really like him. I really do. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Undo that. Undo that. Copy. Paste. See if that one works. Yeah, that one's working. Did the funnest thing yesterday with my little guy. We literally cranked up the we were just partying hard on YouTube, and we put a bunch of metal songs on, or hard rock songs like Metallica and Guns N' Roses and Godsmack and everything, and him, because you could, people put the lyrics on there, and so we were having our own little karaoke party yesterday, my boy and I. It was fantastic. Just fantastic. I really enjoyed that last night. Really enjoyed that. It's a good way to spend the night with the kids, man. You don't need a karaoke machine or anything like that. Kind of cool. One hour of editing done. We get like old hat at this right now. Thank goodness the show is clean, so that way I can see where the beginning and end marks are. Dave, I'm not so into UFO so much, but your Alien Hunter show had me memorized. Yeah, he was good. Daryl Sims was fantastic, wasn't he? He was just fantastic. Yeah, that was a strong show. One of my favorites. Oh, I hope my boy is going to be a guitar legend. He's doing some serious ass kicking and taking names on the guitar right now. Ah, shit. Why did I do that? Error! Error! Okay, copy, cut, save. And now we can paste that in there and resave. We're an hour and a half of the show done right now, just like that. All right. See if we can. There and then there. Yeah. Gotta have him on again. I'm gonna try. We're gonna try by the end of the year. We'll see if we can get an update from Daryl. Just kind of see what he's. So Dave, in order to continue having great shows, you're going to need to wear your hair down each night from now on. Thank you, Shanna Banana. I appreciate that. What I really, really need is I need 2 volunteers. Okay, who do not mind, because I don't get paid to do this. All right. Everything that is donated or wherever goes to keep the show going. Okay. I need 2 volunteers to join my team. Or if it's just one, whatever. I need someone for social media. Take care of Twitter, Instagram, especially. Facebook as well. All right, but more so Twitter and Instagram. And I need to find somebody who also has interest in, or knowledge, more so knowledge in websites. That's what I need. I got people working on the website right now, but they have other projects going on. And as well, so my stuff really doesn't get prioritized, which I don't mind, because they're good people who are helping me out. But yeah, that's what I need as we continue to grow, because the website is just so important. It is so important. And the social media aspect. of Twitter and Instagram. I'm terrible at Instagram. Right? Terrible with Instagram and Twitter. And part of my problem is I have so many hats that I'm wearing is that I don't have time to do it myself. So if you want to be a part of our cool little team and you're a good team player, you're a fan of the show, and you kind of know what you're doing, hit me up, Dave@spacedoutradio.com, or hit me up on Facebook or whatever. Renee, my brother was born on. All right, let's go here. Oh, this one's going to be a tough edit. Oh, is this the top of the hour? Yes, this is the top of the hour. Yeah. What the hell just happened there? No, let's undo that. Copy that. Go here. Almost done. One more. Well, everybody, I'm going to finish up the editing here. I'm going to say goodnight to all of you and thank you all for coming on in and everybody who participated in the super chat and joined us tonight. You guys make this show so special. You know, honestly, it's like a family atmosphere, and I absolutely love that about each and every one of you. And that makes my job hosting this program so much easier. So much easier. You guys have a great night. Tomorrow night, we're going to talk with Bill Kousulis. We're going to talk about Mothman. Oh, yeah, we're going to get really deep into Mothman tomorrow night. And it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun, everybody. So just be prepared for a lot of woo, a lot of fun. Bill's going to bring some serious game to him. And we're going to have a